What is going on, people of YouTube? After 6 long months, football is finally back. At this time of year, every NFL fan base is optimistic that they've got a chance to be great this year, and I love that about the NFL. Even Browns fans think they might actually not suck this year. It is truly a time to be alive, guys. But I'm here to crush the dreams for some of you while maybe validating some of those for others. Before we get into the predictions and I piss you off by telling you your NFL team is going to suck this year, go ahead and hit the like button and support this channel. If you enjoy amateur NFL videos like this one,
what is this, amateur hour?
Make sure you subscribe and become part of the notification squad so you never miss a video. If we can get this to 200 likes on this video, I will make updates to these predictions each month for the remainder of the NFL season based on what's already happened. Quick disclaimer, even though this video was made using Madden 19, these are my predictions. I went through and set forced wins for every game the way I see it playing out. And by the way, if you're looking for someone to make boring picks based on last year's performances, then you've got the wrong guy. I make projections and I try to predict the ever-changing landscape of the NFL, so no, the Eagles versus Patriots is not my Super Bowl pick. The AFC East has been won by the Patriots in 15 of the last 16 seasons, despite some of my past efforts to prematurely predict their downfall. Maybe I'm trying to pull a reverse jinx this year, but it's more likely just because the rest of the AFC East teams just suck. The only team that has interrupted the Patriots' dominance of this division was the Dolphins in 2008 when the late Tony Sparano was the head coach. May he rest in peace. And I think they have the best chance to give them a run this year.
I'm on Burgundy?
But I doubt it. And I don't want to leave you Jets and Bills fans with a nasty taste in your mouth. You guys finally have secured your franchise quarterbacks. Congratulations. And with the Patriots reign coming to an end here sooner than later, you'll be ready to battle it out for the AFC East once again before you know it. And before you guys set the Bills Mafia on me, look at that brutal schedule. You might have 2 wins at max going into the Week 11 bye. The loser in the AFC North has been easy to predict for the last 20 years, but the Browns are no longer the NFL punching bag and should win more games this year than the last 3 seasons combined. The Steelers are still the class of the North, but the Ravens are going to have an elite defense once again, and I think the Lamar Jackson fire that got lit under Joe Flacco's ass is going to have him back to being a well-balanced quarterback for at least another season. That leaves the Bengals to fall to the basement of the AFC North and looking for a replacement for Andy Dalton in the 2019 NFL Draft. I actually like the Bengals defense, but Dalton just isn't good enough for the weak excuse for an offensive line the Bengals put in front of him. The AFC South is actually one of the deepest divisions in the NFL this year, and one of the hardest to predict. What's a shame is that it's likely that only one of these teams make the playoffs in real life if they all beat each other up and the division winner only has 9 wins. I toyed with the Titans as division winners because I honestly don't think that they're that far off talent-wise from the Jags. And with more competent coaching this year, I think that they take a step forward performance-wise. Having the Texans come in 3rd in this division was a hard reality to deal with because this is one of my favorite up-and-coming squads in the league. But they're a few offensive line pieces away from dominating on both sides of the ball. The Colts are the true wild card in this division because you don't know what you've got in Andrew Luck yet. He could surprise everyone and come out and jump right back into the MVP level he was performing at before the injury. But I think he's got probably a rusty season away from returning to form. Until then, I don't feel comfortable putting this roster ahead of anybody else in this tough division. In the AFC West, I might end up regretting putting any kind of faith in the Chargers, but damn, this roster is just too talented to ignore this year. The defense might be suffocating and the offense has got weapons galore. As long as they stay healthy,
knock on wood,
and Phillip Rivers doesn't blow games in the 4th quarter this year, they should win the West. I love the Chiefs roster too, but with a first-year quarterback and a brutal early schedule, there's likely going to be some bumps and bruises for Patrick Mahomes and company. The Raiders and Broncos could easily flip-flop for the losers in the West. The Broncos defense is the best unit on either team, but their offense lacks a true identity, and unless Royce Freeman is an Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, I don't see Case Keenum carrying this offense vertically. John Gruden scares the shit out of me too. He was always a mad scientist, but now he's a rusty mad scientist who could be more Mr. Hyde than Dr. Jekyll moving forward. Let's just put it this way, if the Raiders get Khalil Mack extended, I think that they have enough balance to stay ahead of the Broncos. But if they actually end up trading him, then this team is about to return to their train wreck of a way, and they belong in the basement of the West. But for now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. The Super Bowl champs return with one of the deepest NFL rosters we've seen in years. The only thing to worry about with the Eagles is the quarterback situation. If they rush Carson Wentz back, it could put them in an early hole if he's not ready. Nick Foles brought a Super Bowl to Philly with that historic run, and I think he deserves a chance to hold down the fort once again for maybe like an extra month or so, just to be sure. The Cowboys have a really talented roster also, and I don't buy the concerns with their receiving core after losing Dez Bryant and Jason Witten. They're one of the few teams in the league that have a definitive identity, and they're built to execute their game plan despite the opposition knowing what's coming. They're going to be clipping at the Eagles' heels all season. The Redskins are rebooting with Alex Smith at quarterback, and he's going to keep them in a lot of games games while the defense does their thing. The defensive front might be one of the best in the NFL, but Alex Smith will keep you in as many games as he will lose you because you have to play to win the game, not play to not lose.
Hello? You play to win the game.
That's why two teams have moved on from such an efficient passer. The Giants have one of the best Madden offenses with a plethora of weapons, but I still think the Giants royally screwed up by passing on Sam Darnold because Eli Manning has about 4 good games left in the tank. Kirk Cousins is going to make the Vikings the most balanced team in football this year. They have a chance to dominate people on both sides of the ball. But Aaron Rodgers is back and now has an NFL rule named after him with this helmet thing they're forcing down our throat. I think Aaron Rodgers comes back with a vengeance and gets his new weapon in Jimmy Graham involved early and often. Devontae Adams and Jimmy Graham may have double-digit touchdowns this year. If you check my other videos, you know I'm in love with the Bears offseason, and I think they make a ton of progress from last year. But this is the most talented division in football from top to bottom, and the Vikings and Packers are built for Super Bowl runs, while the Lions and Bears are built to be competitive and would be top teams in the AFC, but they're just not ready for the NFC big leagues just yet. The Lions are habitual underachievers, and I think that new head coach Matt Patricia has some growing pains to go through while he builds that defense into his own unit. Matt Stafford will get his numbers, but he's one of the most hot and cold quarterbacks I've ever seen, so it's hard for me to rely on him. The NFC South is going to be another tough division this year, and the Falcons, Panthers, or Saints could win the division, and it wouldn't surprise me. The Falcons have got one of the deepest and most athletic rosters in the league, and if Steve Sarkisian can figure out how to use all these weapons, they could return to dominance. The Panthers added DJ Moore to the offense, but he wasn't even the biggest addition this offseason. Norv Turner is going to do wonders for Cam Newton and the Panthers running game. Hopefully Luke Kuechly can move past the concussion issues he's had in the past and play all 16 games this year, and the Panthers could be a surprise team in the NFL this year. I'm not as sold on the Saints repeating their success from 2017. Their running back duo had a historic season, and it's not going to be easy to replicate that. Drew Brees needed that running game last year because he's starting to show signs of wear and tear, and this could potentially be his last season in the NFL. The 4-game suspension for Mark Ingram is going to be a bigger deal than I feel like it's being made out to be, and even though the Saints were able to recover from their 0-2 start, that's another feat that's not easily replicated, and a slow start in this division might bury them before Ingram even gets back.
What are you doing? Burying you.
Luckily for them, they have the Browns and Buccaneers in the first 2 games, which brings us to the Bucs. This might be the worst team in the NFL this year. Seriously, the Bucs are going to be probably hitting the reset button next March, and I feel bad for Bucs fans because they've been forced to cheer on a guy that I really liked coming out of college football-wise. But when all those red flags end up coming to fruition, it just depresses me that these guys can't recognize the opportunity in front of them and stop doing dumb shit. I'm talking about Jameis Winston groping that Uber driver, if you didn't realize. The Rams were my off-season Super Bowl winners. I was so pumped to lead the preseason bandwagon, but their mishandling of this Aaron Donald situation has got me second-guessing their defensive dominance moving forward. Hear me out. Ndamukong Suh was Aaron Donald once upon a time, but the Miami version was not even close to the AD level. I'm assuming they'll get this figured out sooner than later, but I always worry about the fitness level of guys that hold out of training camp. Aaron Donald is getting set up for, I don't know, a deep tissue injury or something moving forward, and without the best defensive player in football playing at that level, the Rams aren't winning the Super Bowl. The Rams should still win this division, but the 49ers are America's sweetheart because of GQ Jimmy G. I think that the 49ers offense still lacks the weapons that they really need to be a contender, but they're still going to be, fighting for the division, I think, late in the season. The Seahawks are a shell of the former Super Bowl winning team from a few years ago, and the offensive line is still crap. They had a chance to draft an offensive line prospect, but picked another running back in Rashad Penny, and the biggest knock on him was his struggles in pass protection. I don't know. I think it's time to move on from Pete Carroll personally, but Russell Wilson is going to keep their season alive for far too long for management to think that it's time for a fresh start at head coach. I fear that there are dark times ahead for the Seahawks, so my thoughts and prayers go out to you guys. The Cardinals surprised me and actually went out and got their franchise quarterback after there was a month window before the draft where I was concerned that they actually thought Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon were going to get the job done. It's unfair to assume the Cardinals are going to be this bad, but with a rookie quarterback starting a number of games, the Cardinals could be looking at a lot of close losses as expected when starting a rookie quarterback. Alright, and now we're to the part where I think it's a little bit easier to predict this part of things, the end of season awards. At MVP, I've got Aaron Rodgers. It's been a while since we've seen Aaron Rodgers on the field, but don't get it twisted, this is still the best quarterback in the NFL talent-wise, and he's gearing up for one more run in the twilight of his career. I think we see a special year out of Aaron Rodgers, and he lights it up this year. So the trend lately seems to be that MVP goes to the top quarterback, and Offensive Player of the Year has been used to recognize the top running back, if not the MVP also. And this year, the guy I chose lost one of the most important parts of his offensive line later in the day after I record this voiceover for the video. I figured I needed to change the pick to the next running back up, but after researching the other candidates, I still came back to my original pick. The stars still seem to be aligning for Ezekiel Elliott to be the best running back in the NFL this year, and he's going to put those skills on display in his revenge season with or without Travis Frederick, who's dealing with a serious infection that attacks his nerves. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but I wish him a speedy recovery. In a year where many people expect his younger brother to be the best player in college football, Joey Bosa will also be dominating the NFL from the other side of the country. Coming into his third season, I think that Joey Bosa unleashes his true ability on quarterbacks this year with a year similar to JJ Watt in 2014, minus all the touchdown catches. At Offensive Rookie of the Year, I've got Sam Darnold. Saquon Barkley is going to be a favorite choice for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I get it, but let's be honest, this is a quarterback-dominated award, and even with a solid rookie season from Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold only needs to have an above-average season to secure this award. At Defensive Rookie of the Year, I've got Derwin James. Derwin James is one of my favorite players coming out of the draft, and he landed on one of the best defensive units possible, where he's going to start probably from day one. If you can't tell, I'm really high on the Chargers defense this year, and I'm doubling down on Defensive Player awards for him. Coach of the Year, I have Vikings coach Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer has been an underrated coach for much of his career, and with his units dominating on both sides of the ball, I think this is the year he finally puts it all together. For Assistant Coach of the Year, I'm picking Norv Turner. I already said that I thought Norv Turner was going to be a huge addition for the Panthers offense, and I'm doubling down on that also by giving him Assistant Coach of the Year award. The list of candidates for Comeback Player of the Year is pretty stacked. You've got Aaron Rodgers, JJ Watt, Deshaun Watson, Dalvin Cook, Andrew Luck, David Johnson. But for this award, I went with Odell Beckham because I think he's just the best overall athlete on the list. I think he's going to have to carry that offense once again. And even though I've got Aaron Rodgers going MVP, I don't think that they give him Comeback Player of the Year and MVP. All right, now in the moment that you've all been waiting for, the teams that I'm predicting to go to Super Bowl 53. From the NFC, I've got the Vikings. The Vikings got blown out in the NFC Championship game last year, but they finally got a real NFL quarterback to get the job done this year. I'm not even a huge Kirk Cousins fan, but I think he's in a great position to do just what needs to be done in this situation and let the defense go to work. And then from the AFC, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers finally get the Patriots monkey off their back and get past them to get to the Super Bowl in what was an up and down year for Tom Brady and company. In Big Ben's last hurrah, the Steelers' offensive weapons are just not enough to get past the Vikings' Purple People Eaters defense, and the Vikings will be Super Bowl 53 champions. It's been a long time coming for the Vikings. They've had some of the best teams in the NFL history to never win a Super Bowl. And after the curse of a home team never hosting a Super Bowl got them last year, I think this is the year they finally put it all together. All right, so that's going to do it for my predictions this year, guys. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. Also, go ahead and tell me your Super Bowl predictions in the comments. I love hearing you guys. This is one of my favorite times of year to debate football, so please leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about this, and if I should continue to do this every month based on what's happened and kind of update these predictions as we move along the season. Once again, I appreciate you guys so much for checking this out. Make sure you hit the like button, and I will see you guys in the next video.